So John,
Hello.
this Xbox situation, this is wild, is it not?
Well,
This is crazy.
it's weird because
It's definitely weird.
a lot of it doesn't add up, or at least with stuff that like Microsoft and Xbox have come out and said about like behind some of their decisions for the past week.
Yeah.
Doesn't add up.
Nope.
Does not add up at all.
Nope.
Based on what they're trying to communicate to people.
Yep.
And yeah, it kind of. I don't know who made some of these decisions or when they actually decided it, or if it was kind of just news was dropped and they're trying to, and some people are still trying to figure out, wait, when did we decide this?
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of get that vibe too, because so right off the top, let's go ahead and just establish what we're talking about. This week, Xbox shut down 4 studios. 2 of them are more support studios, to my understanding, being like Roadhouse Studios or Roadhouse Games, Roadhouse Studios, and Alpha Dog Studios. To my understanding, those were more support and have been in a support role. But notably, they shut down Arcane Austin, who did Redfall, which unfortunate. But Arcane's got a pretty notable name in general, Dishonored and stuff like that. And then Tango Gameworks, who has had a slew of pretty solid games, including an award winner last year.
By far the standout baffling decision.
Yes, I agree. Because like with Tango, they of course had Hi-Fi Rush Shadow Drop last year, Universal Acclaim, won a game award, won other awards. They had Ghostwire Tokyo, pretty well acclaimed. They had 2, Evil Within 1 and 2, really good, horror games that people love. And to my knowledge, I could be wrong, I think Tango was like Microsoft's like only Japanese-based studio as well. So it's like that was their one foot in the door into the Japanese market, a market they are horrible in. We see the sales horrible in that market. So it's like you shut down the one studio that puts you in the door for that market. Like I don't understand it, because it's like what you just said about. It almost feels like some people are trying to figure out when we decided this, because it's like I put it in our script. Tango Gameworks celebrated their 14th year anniversary this in March, and Sarah Bond, responded to it where it's just like, congratulations, cheers to many more. And that was in March, so it's like, did the decision get made in 2 months? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know if you have it in there because I haven't double checked it, but probably the only thing that's made me chuckle about this a little bit was the decision to shut these down. Part of what I was saying with like it doesn't add up is there was a statement made something along the lines of, we need some of these smaller games to like
What's up, Zach?
to like bring us awards or have accolades like come out behind them.
Yeah, I did.
To which then they replied with a picture of their award shelf with all of their awards on it, and was like, "Is this not enough?"
Yeah.
It's like, what does it take to impress you?
Yeah, so the thing that you're talking about, apparently it was an internal statement made by Matt Booty.
Yeah.
Made it with internally, and people just anonymously have reported it to The Verge, just who it was. So Verge is a pretty official source of news here that I trust. But yeah, it was like, we're looking for smaller games that bring us prestige and awards. And then it's like, I think it was the founder of Tango, who recently left the company, took a picture of that shelf. It's like, what more do you want?
Yeah.
Like I don't understand.
It's rough.
Yeah, it's just like 6 or 7 different trophies and awards on the wall. And it's like, what else do we need?
I mean, it was a rough thing because, as you said, Arcane Austin, everyone was sort of like, it was Redfall. It was like, we sort of understand, unfortunately.
To an extent.
Unfortunately.
It's
But
like
then,
you have like that much of a bomb.
Then Tango Works, everyone was like, what?
Yeah, it's like that one doesn't make sense. Like, I've seen so many reports that apparently it's just like, okay, well, Alpha Dog and Roadhouse, they were support studios anyway. They weren't really doing anything. Arcane and Hi-Fi were both in the process of hiring for new projects. Tango going to pitch Hi-Fi Rush 2. Arcane going to probably go back to Dishonored. So like that was apparently possibly part of the decision. It's like, well, they're at this exact moment, they're not doing anything. So get rid of them. It's like, that still doesn't make sense. So like when it comes to this whole topic, there's so many things to like take in and talk about and react to. But like, I feel like the main questions that we should talk about is like, one, is Game Pass the problem or just a problem? And two, is it time to change leadership? Because like I've seen people talk about this on, Twitter and stuff, where it's like Phil Spencer has had 10 years, billions of dollars at his disposal to turn things around. And while there's a jump, sure, from one to series, right, in terms of sales and everything like that, we see where we are now, where it's like Xbox is like, what the state that they're in. It's like, cool, you're getting some sweet deals with like third party publishers and stuff like that, right? Like, got the Persona over there, you got the Final Fantasies over there, like you're establishing you're building these bridges for relationships. Great. You got Activision Blizzard, whatever. You bought ZeniMax Bethesda, awesome, cool. But it's just like, I detailed a bunch of like issues that's happened since the Xbox One. First off, the Xbox One alone was an issue.
Well, I just wanted to jump in real quick because, like you said, there has been a bit of a bump from the Xbox One to the Series.
Yes.
But we're how many years into the Series
4
cycle now? And yet here's the biggest problem with Xbox right now. What's the reason to buy an Xbox?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's it.
There's still nothing driving you to buy it.
Yes.
Except Game Pass.
That's literally the
Yeah.
only selling point of the series is to get Game Pass because, as we've mentioned several times before, there's still no notable first-party games besides some that were released back when the series came out, in which those were 4 years ago.
Yes.
Meh.
And to add to that point, I've had 2 conversations within the last week involving that exact point with our buddy Steve, who's got a PlayStation and a PC, and he's just like, man, I was really thinking about getting an Xbox. I'm just like, I enjoy my Xbox, but I also, just because I enjoy Game Pass, but I was like, there's no other reason to get it besides that. And then our friend Brady, who, of course, just like me, super excited for College Football 25. It's only a current gen game. It's not going to be on PS4 or anything, so he needs to get a new console. And he was asking me what should he get, and I told him, like, dude, you're probably better off to get a PS5 at this point. Like, it's like for Xbox, it's like you're getting it for Game Pass and nothing else. And I told him stuff that happened and how this. He's like, okay, I see your point. It's probably good. There is no point. There feels like no point to get an Xbox. And with all the reports from a few months ago where it's like they're going to go full multi-plat, Halo's going to be on PlayStation and shit like that. And honestly, I still think that's going to happen. Those reports are still active. Like, it really does drive the narrative of what's the point to buy an Xbox besides Game Pass. So it's like, is it time to change leadership? And is Game Pass the problem? Because like obviously high subscriber base, but like it's been kind of stagnant over the last year or so. It had a small bump when they got rid of Xbox Live because they made Xbox Live Game Pass.
Yeah, that's the other thing is
like, how much of a bump was that really? Like, it doesn't really count.
Yeah, it's like you can say, yeah, large subscriber count. It's like, well, yeah, but anybody that has an Xbox has to have Game Pass now.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah, at least Game Pass Core at the minimum if you want to play online and stuff.
Yeah, so it's like everybody's going to have like Game Pass, and if you have a console but you also have a PC, you might as well get Game Pass Ultimate. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, so that way you can have it on both.
And it's just one of those where the question is Game Pass the problem?
I personally do not feel like Game Pass itself is the problem.
I don't think it's the problem, but I do think it's a problem.
I do see that it is a hindrance to seeing a increase into Xbox as itself, because there is a very hard focus, as we mentioned, of them bringing stuff to Xbox through third parties that are immediately going on Game Pass, with some exceptions.
Yep.
And so, at least from the consumer point of view, very much seems like it's more a Xbox Series Game Pass than Xbox Series console.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. And I think Game Pass isn't necessarily the problem, but it is a part. It's definitely a part of the problem.
Yes.
Because with Game Pass, it's like obviously they can tell downloads through Game Pass and downloads through purchases and stuff like that. But with the introduction of Game Pass, it's like, okay, well, how much more valuable is someone buying the game versus someone downloading the game through Game Pass?
That's the big question. Because Game Pass has really created that narrative of why should I buy the game? Because I'm fully a victim of that.
Oh, I am.
Like, why should I buy it?
When I can just download it for free.
Oh, there's
through my subscription, I should say, not free.
There's definitely. I mean, hell, I've been playing MLB The Show all week at home on my Xbox, and it's like, in previous, up until last year when it came over to Xbox, I was buying it every year on my PlayStation.
Yep.
It's on Game Pass now, so I'm like, I just download it on Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, shit. That's how I played Persona 3 Reload because it came to Game Pass. Like, it saved me the money from buying it.
95% of the Xbox games that I've played since I got my series have been Game Pass games.
Yeah,
The only exceptions have been like, what was it like WWE?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's about it.
And it does hardcore drive that narrative because, like, for me, like, I don't see a point also in buying Xbox like first parties. Like, they're going to come to Game Pass day one. So it's like that's the whole reason why my Xbox Series X is mostly a third party console, because I want, I'm a boomer and I like my physical games on the shelf. So like, if there's a third party game that's on PS5 and Xbox, I'm more inclined to get it for Xbox so I can have something on my shelf, because I'll never buy an Xbox game or a first party. I never. It's going to come to Game Pass. What's the point? Like, I'm fully a victim of that. So it's like, is it part of the problem? I say yes, because it's like, while you have Hi-Fi Rush with this universal acclaim, like, how much money did it actually make? And now there's other questions where it's like, here on the 21st, 10 days from now, you have Hellblade 2 coming out. Is Ninja Theory in jeopardy? Because like, they've received zero marketing for this game. Like, I think the only marketing for this game that it's got, besides like, in showcases, like, where they've shown stuff, is like, literally no shit, a tweet yesterday in the midst of all this happening where it's just like, Hellblade 2, May 21st. And that was it. That was the marketing. It's like, that's the whole marketing budget for the game. This game's fucked.
No, although I will say, I don't think Hellblade 2 is a game that needs it. Because Hellblade is a game that did not get a lot of marketing behind it, or it got some marketing behind it, but it didn't get a ton. And yet, that is a beloved game that people have been waiting on a sequel for a long time.
Let's be honest, Hellblade was very much a sleeper hit that a lot of people looked over.
Yeah. It's one that kind of sat there, and over time, like, people came back to, because they were like, oh, I've played all the other games. I've played all the other Xbox games. What do I have here? Oh, what's this Hellblade? That's probably how it came through, and then everybody started playing it, and everybody loved it.
Yeah.
So now all of those people are waiting on the sequel. They know when it's coming out. It's like us with some games. We know when the games we're looking forward to are coming out.
Yeah, true.
I'm not
Sports Godfather.
It's like I'm not gonna. It's like I'm not gonna pay attention to like a bunch of marketing stuff when it's coming out for a game.
That's fair.
I'm because I think I said like last week or the week before, I'm usually sold on a game from the initial showcase that I see on a game.
Right.
And then that puts it on my radar. I don't need to see anything else after that point. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm going to remember it, and the next time when I see a release date, that's going to be fine. But the problem is, with a lot of Game Pass games, they come out on Game Pass. Unless it's something you're directly looking forward to, even then, sometimes it's hard to find these games when they come out, because like the newly added to Game Pass, at certain points during the year, it just gets flooded.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's like a lot of these games get lost, and there's no other way to search for them. Hell, I was trying to look through Game Pass games the other day. Like, I think it was a couple days ago when I was trying to download MLB. Man, it's a confusing window to try to even get to Game Pass and search through everything.
It can be.
Because you get there, it's like, okay, well, here's our new games, and then it immediately starts going into different categories of games.
Yeah.
It's like the somehow, in a rare instance, the Game Pass and Xbox like launcher on PC is easier to use than the one on Xbox.
I can see that, because I've definitely messed with both, and I can see your point.
But yeah, like Game Pass, it is part of the problem, because especially when all first party games and all Xbox games, even third party and stuff, that all come through there, you're just flooding the newly entered in category to where the easiest way to search through it is going to just go to all Game Pass games and just scroll.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff's going to get lost.
Right.
And then, whereas if it wasn't appearing on Game Pass and just showed up as new in store, which is where everybody used to go look for games, people are more likely to buy it.
Mm-hmm. So, I think we can all agree that Game Pass is at least part of the problem, but we're not going to call it the problem. But like, when it comes to the leadership, right? Like, again, Phil Spencer, like, he's had a lot of defenders. I've defended him because I thought there's been some good moves made in the past. But it's like once you start to tally up the L's, like it really does bring up the question: is it time for new leadership? Like, should Microsoft look at a new set of leadership and cleaning house and restructuring? Because like just to put it in perspective, in case anyone's forgotten, like let's go through some history here. So like to kick things off, your flagship IP, the IP that should be leading your entire brand, Halo Infinite, massive shit show, constantly has changed game director multiple times. Halo 5, garbage. Halo 4, that was 360 era. Well, we won't really touch on that one. It was an okay game at best. But Halo 5, garbage. Halo Infinite, fun game. Gameplay is great. But the game itself, like, you know, the handling of it, shit show. Starfield was delayed and then released as a mid-ass game with problems. Fable has been delayed and delayed and delayed. We still don't even know when it's coming out. Gears has completely fallen off the earth as a notable franchise. From the 360 era to the one to now the series, coming into the series. Everwild, per reports, has been like literally prom forward. Forza games have been hit with multiple delays. Hellblade 2, you know, again, really received no marketing. I do see your point, though. I may not really need it. It's been previously delayed. Could likely bomb in Microsoft's eyes. It may be universally acclaimed in reviews, but in Microsoft's eyes, it may bomb because not as many people play as they want to. Perfect Dark, apparently in developmental hell. No idea what's going on with that. Fallout 76, shit show at launch. Redfall. And then unknown status for at least 6+ other kind of games, like Contraband's one. Let's see, like we got a trailer for Indiana Jones, but yeah, that's about all we got for that here recently. There's a few other games that's been announced that I'm drawing a blank on, that it's like zero status update that's just been announced way too early. It's like, is it time to change leadership? How much more of a pass can you give the current regime is the question. This is like getting into like almost sports conversation.
It's one of those things where it's kind of
knowing that of these list of games, Fallout 76 is the one that's come out ahead through all of this.
That's
Launch
true.
was shit show, but Fallout 76 is now very much a solid game.
Correct. True.
Yeah. Part of the problem with trying to say or just jump on board and say, yeah, it probably is. It's like Phil has had plenty of time at this point to attempt to not even dig himself or dig Xbox out of this hole, but to help turn it around. And the thing is, like with what you just mentioned, in the years since he's been in, it hasn't necessarily gotten better. If anything, Xbox has taken just as many, if not more, L's in the most recent years than they have in the past 15. Mm-hmm. And the thing that's hard to look at it and go, yeah, it's probably about time. They need to move on from him, is just the fact that everybody likes Phil. Everybody likes seeing Phil at the showcase. Everybody likes him showing up and giving his opinion, talking about it. Because when he gets on stage and starts talking about Xbox and everything, you want to believe him.
Yeah.
It's like he's
charismatic. His the vibe is kind of infectious, kind of thing.
And it's like, as much as I get like, I'm never looking forward to an Xbox or a Microsoft showcase, but while it's happening and Phil's on stage telling me to be excited for it, it's hard not to be.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where
he's a leader in that capacity.
You always come out of it thinking it's better than it was. Yeah. It's like I've been guilty of it. We've all been guilty of it.
Oh yeah.
And it's one of those, but it's like when you actually step back and look at what Xbox has been through for like the last 10 years, there's not really any good. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, you got a couple little win. It's like, yeah, you got a little bit of a win with the series over the Xbox One. That's not saying much. Mm-hmm. It's like you didn't have a lot of competition there.
Yeah.
So it might be time, but it's hard to just slam down and say yes. It's like something has to change. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it's the leadership necessarily, or I mean, because clearly there's problems the whole way down, like down from the leadership, where something is not being communicated properly between the people at the top and the people actually working on the games and doing everything. Whether it's them trying to constantly change, or like push deadlines on people or what. Something is completely broken at Xbox in the last 10 years. But I don't know exactly where that is, but they gotta fix something.
Yeah. What about you? What do you think? Regime change?
I mean, I'm not big on regime change. I mean, they probably could and see how it does, but I mean, it's more of a thing for me of just I want to see some kind of change. That's not necessarily regime oriented, but at least first party oriented. Like at this point in time, give us something.
So let me ask you this: like, are you kind of in the boat where it's like, I think we can all collectively agree that we feel like that we're about to finally go over this hump and see some games come out, right? Like Avowed is set to come out this year, supposedly.
That's the hope, yes.
You know, Fable's supposedly around the corner. So, like, are you kind of in the boat? Let's see how this stuff happens. Let's see how this stuff comes out, and then we'll kind of judge. Is that
Pretty
what you-
much, because
that's
this
fair.
is the this is the
the
most
deciding
we've
moment.
had of just like, hey, these things are coming out, and
Yeah.
we've seen a bit more on stuff.
Okay.
The only problem I have with that is, like, for me, kind of, like, personally for me, this is almost their last chance.
I feel that too.
Because this is, like I brought up earlier, we're over 4 years into the series
Yeah.
life cycle.
Yep.
We've got nothing.
Pretty much.
Yep.
It's like, and everything notable that they've tried to give us, it's like, well, it's like they hyped up Redfall as one of the best, like their most popular game, like one of their best games that they're going to come out. Shit show.
Yep.
It's like they bought Bethesda to get Starfield Xbox only.
Mid.
It's
Solid game. 7 out of 10. You know what I mean?
Bethesda game.
Bethesda game.
But yeah, it's like we don't get anything notable. We don't get like what we would remember as the Xbox games.
Yeah, because off the dome, you guys ready? Here are the 3 most notable series games that I can think of that's come out in the span of the series. Forza Horizon 5. It was nominated for Game of the Year. I think it was. It was nominated for rewards. I don't know if it's Game of the Year. Psychonauts 2. Hi-Fi Rush. That's your slate of the peak series games that have been like universally acclaimed and reviewed and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like that's it. I'm pretty sure that's what's off the dome. Every other like first party title I can think of that's come out has just been like it's an okay game or it was trash.
In Control.
That was an Xbox game though.
Was it one? I thought it was series.
No, it was re-released on series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't think that one. That's not a first party. But yeah, I'm just talking just first party. That's the only ones that I can think of is Horizon 5, Psychonauts 2, and Hi-Fi Rush, and now Tango is dead. So it's like that's just the kicker. Your 3 probably most notable, like reviewed and acclaimed games, you shut down one of the studios. It's like correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't think of anything else in the series lifespan that was first party and like considered a peak game. I think that's it. I think that's your titles. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, because most games on Xbox are going to be reviewed well, and like people are going to speak highly of, are third party or multiplayer games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's about accurate. Like that's sad to me, and I don't mean any disrespect to those 3 games, but it's like you have all these IPs and these franchises, whatever, and if that's your 3 best in the span, because what correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there like I don't know if it was I don't think it was 2020, it might have been 2021. You know, with all the COVID stuff, didn't they go a literal full calendar year and not release a single first party game? I think if I
I'm
remember.
fairly sure, yeah.
So it's just like, what something needs to change. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like what you said is about accurate. Where it's just like I feel like this is kind of like their last chance. Like that's the vibe that I get. You know, as a Chicago Bears fan, I've seen this vibe before of where this is your last chance to figure it out.
Yeah, because it's getting to the point of like even with Game Pass, it's almost what's the point of owning an Xbox unless it's like. Granted, if a lot of your multiplayer games are coming to Xbox and they're going to be on Game Pass, yeah, gonna be worth it. people that prefer the Xbox ecosystem, yeah, you're gonna. It's like. I mean, I'm not judging anybody based on what console you prefer. It's like I typically like having both of them for
Various
their
reasons.
own, like the games that come out on them. It's just at this point, as I said, my series is just a like a Game Pass console. It doesn't do anything else besides Game Pass games.
I feel that.
And it's one of those where it's like, I mean, they're gonna have to actually not even just release, because like we said, they're gonna have to release games this year, but that's not all it has to be. They got to release some damn good games this year, or it's already kind of embarrassing for them.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be way more embarrassing if they're games that they're finally gonna release that they've been talking about for 4+ years come out and are trash. Mm-hmm. I'm not hoping that happens. I'm hoping these games come out and are fantastic.
Agreed.
But,
Especially when I'm looking forward to some of them.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
Like a Fable and Avowed.
Yeah, it's like I mean, hell, we've been talking about wanting to see Fable for years.
Yeah.
Avowed has been a game that when they first showed it off, now it looks completely different than it did the first time we saw it, and I'm down for the vibe that it has now.
Yeah.
I just want it to come out. I want it to be good.
Yeah. And
Or the Forbidden Dead game, Beyond Good and Evil 2,
true.
which initially came out with a series announcement of an amazing trailer. Everyone was real hyped for it because it's Beyond Good and Evil. Then we got nothing.
Yep. So that's another one of the list. And then if we ever see Everwild, if we ever see that game, I don't know if we will. We'll see. Couple other points that I had with all of this is I did also come across where it's like long-term Xbox employees have said that internally the vibe for it is like it's no longer Xbox. It feels like it's Microsoft gaming. Like that's kind of the vibe internally. It's where it's like the brand of Xbox is like not necessarily being respected, which to an extent hearing that now doesn't really surprise me because I want to say at some point, like maybe a year or so ago, like we had it in like a weekly wrap up topic or whatever, where Microsoft legitimately was considering selling off Xbox. Like it's completely just getting rid of it, selling it off to someone else or shutting it down or something. I remember a weekly wrap up point that we had like a year ago where that Microsoft apparently was considering that per reports. So the vibe for it changing where it's like, it doesn't feel like Xbox anymore. It just feels like Microsoft gaming. Like I can see that as being as a real vibe within Xbox and stuff.
I mean, controversial point here, maybe. I don't give a fuck what you call it.
I mean, yeah.
If you want to have Xbox be your division of your console where you want to be there, and you want your game development side to be Microsoft gaming, not necessarily call it Xbox.
Yeah.
And then just like all of your first party stuff goes to your Microsoft console, which is your Xbox, and have Microsoft gaming as a whole be able to release on additional consoles as well. I don't see a problem with that necessarily, but if you're going to make the distinction, make the distinction.
Yeah.
Quit calling it one thing and treating it like another.
Yeah, true.
Split it apart if you need to, because like I said, if it's causing a rift, officially name it that, or just like kill it as a whole and call it no, we're all Xbox.
Yeah.
Whichever way it needs to be done.
Yeah, that's fair. I will also add, like, where with the last chance vibe of things, I do feel like if this last chance and these games come out, they bomb. I'm telling you, I'm going to call it right now. May 11, 2024. Give it like a year and a half from now, we're going to start seeing some bigger titles go multi-plat. We're not going to just see the Sea of Thieves and the ground in the hop. We're going to give it a year and a half from now. If shit bombs and goes south, boys, Halo's going to PlayStation. I'm calling it. Like, they're going to really embrace the play anywhere and just kind of mail it in. I'm feeling it, boys. I'm telling you.
Do you know what the problem with that is? It better not be Infinite that goes anywhere. Better be either a new game or you better be releasing your older games over there.
I mean, update Master Chief Collection again.
Yeah, true. Update Master Chief Collection. That's going to be the day, man, when Halo goes PlayStation. At this point, I'm all in on it, man. I think it's going to happen. It's a matter of time. But Halo, like the big dogs, Halo is gonna be on a PlayStation someday. I'm feeling it, man. I see with and unless everything works out perfectly and they fix everything. Let's say we, get this long rumored Halo BR by Certain Affinity and it's great, whatever. Like we'll see if that's
what
a
the
thing.
problem
We're
with
good,
that is at
then
this point?
maybe it won't go anywhere. But
You know what the problem with this Halo BR at this point is? At this point in time, people don't give a shit about
there's
BRs anymore.
Yeah.
yeah, the
BRs were popular like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, they still have their crowd, but I mean, it's not nearly a good a market as it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, right now your market is once again back to Fortnite, and the players that play Fortnite is mostly just because they just release like cool skins to collect all the time.
Continuously.
Yeah, like the other ones, like we're at a point now where it's like there's still a large amount of people, obviously, that play Warzone, but like the conversation around Warzone or Warzone 2.0 or whatever is not nearly as strong as what it was, and people are more excited just for the next Call of Duty, especially since it's going back to Black Ops. Like they're more excited about that than Warzone.
I don't know if that's necessarily true because the people that are playing Warzone are the people that were the ones that were making all the noise when 2.0 came out because they didn't like the changes. And now changes and stuff have been made, and they're just happily over there in their own little world playing their game. They're kind of like Apex players at this point.
That's fair.
Or PUBG.
Where it's
Also
like
fair.
where it's like those groups, it's like they found their preferred game and they just kind of hang out.
Yeah, pretty much.
They don't dip their toes out until a new big game comes out.
Yep.
Which, granted, this Halo BR, if it comes out, people from all these other games, they'll jump into it. They'll give it a shot.
Yep.
But if it's not good, they're going to move on. Or if it's not as good as what they're coming from, they're going to move on.
Right. That's true. If this Halo BR exists, hopefully it's actually worth shit.
If not, we'll
see.
get the Falcon Team's version in Forge.
I know theirs is actually really good apparently, so it works. The last two pieces of info I wanted to throw in with all this because I thought it was hilarious is someone nuked Phil Spencer's camp in Fallout 76.
Thing it was is people were suspecting his protest. He actually apparently, because I think it was Kotaku got a hold of the guy, and he was just like, no, it wasn't because of this. I had this plan for weeks.
Yeah, he said that he's viewed Phil Spencer as the final boss.
Yeah, he was just like, I just want Phil Spencer to fight me.
Yeah, and
It was more of just the most convenient timing
Yeah.
of all time for this guy.
yes. And then the follow-up to that is on Phil Spencer's Xbox account, which is P3, so people like to check on it all the time. He just got the achievement in Fallout 76 where it's like the mission that unlocks the ability for you to nuke. So Phil Spencer's planning his retaliation, which I think is hilarious.
The guy got his wish, I guess. He finally gets to fight Phil Spencer.
I think that's hysterical. That's the best thing to come out of this week is that we have this Fallout 76 beef.